Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David Baruch Hashem. I wish everyone a wonderful week. Shua Tov, Mavorach, a good vach. And, we're going to continue our lessons in Likutey Halachos. We're in Halachos Tefillin. Halacha Hey, we're middle of lesson Lamed Dalet, 34. That's where we left off. And we're learning about this idea of the tefillin that have to be made out of a pure animal, right? They have to be made out of pure animal. It has to be something that it had the potential that you were able to consume it. It had to have the potential. In other words, it doesn't matter if the animal had died, or the animal was considered a treifa. Let's say they slaughtered the animal and then they found that the lung wasn't good or one of the main organ. No, it's okay. You can use it because the animal itself was a pure animal. That's the main thing. What we're going to be learning is such a beautiful idea, and that's what we have to all understand about ourselves. And we all can have all kind of blemishes in our own pasts and everything else. It doesn't matter. We're still pure. The same way the animal, you see that? The same way that the animal has to be of a pure breed, has to be a breed that's pure. And then it doesn't matter what happened to the animal. You can still use the skin. No matter what happened to it, you can still use the skin. It's okay to make a Sefer Torah, mezuzahs, or tefillin from. So too is a Jew. You understand? That's where we're going with this. So too is any Jew, no matter what they did, but they're pure, because they're a Jew, because you're a holy person. You have holiness, and because you have holiness, you can always get fixed up. In the same way, you have to work on the hide, right? When you first take the hide, it stinks, right? You take the hide, it's messy. It's nothing nice at all. But you have to work it and work it and work it and work it till it has no more stench. You have to work it and work it and work it till it looks beautiful. It's pristine. It's clean. It's nice. That's us. That's what we have to do. We have to work on ourselves. And the stench is hinting to any taiva that we still have, any desire, any evil desires that we have that are still lingering in us. That's the stench. So we have to work. We learn now from the skin. You have to work out and get, because if you have this skin, but it still has the smell to it, it's no good. You can't use it for the Sefer Torah. You can't have a Sefer Torah Chas v'Shalom that would smell, right? So the same thing as a Jew. We have to work on it. So we learn it all out from the skin, from the law of the tefillin. How do you like that? Is that very beautiful? Right? Okay. I'll give you a little preview. Okay. Ika bilbul hamedameh. Shehem klal kol hamachshava zorois, dihurim royim. So we left off at this thing over here. We're just picking it up over here. We're talking about this koyach hamedameh, right? The imagination. The imagination is the most fascinating thing that we have. Right? You can imagine things. You could be in different places. You could imagine the most amazing anything. Literally anything. Yeah. It doesn't have to be. It's not real. It's just it's a figment of imagination, right? It's an imagination, but that imagination drives the person, right? The imagination drives the person, right? Could you imagine? Let's say when Thomas Edison, he had an imagination that I'm going to make this thing that lights up. Right? There was no such a thing. Right. He was imagining this. I'm going to make something that's going to light up. It was that drove him to figure out how to do that. Because it was through his imagination, right? You ever think of that way?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or Mercedes and Benz, those two guys, right, with the car. Yeah. Right? The two partners. They wound up killing each other, right?
Can't enable.
What? Yeah.
Partners do kill each other. So.
He got ran over with the car. He ran over his partner. I don't know which one won. Either way, the point is, it's all about imagination. People imagine things, and it can actually cause the most amazing things, right?
Well, you can imagine.
The Wright brothers, right? They thought about an airplane, right? That was the Wright brothers, right? They thought about an airplane. It's going to fly. Is it imagination? They had no such thing like that. I'm just giving you an example how the imagination really lends to any future benefit or bad.
Well, imagination.
You had Hitler Yamach Shemam V'Zichram, right? So he imagined he's going to get rid of all of the Jews. That was his imagination. That's on the other spectrum, right? He imagined he's going to get rid of all. And look what he did. Leading all from the imagination. You ever think of it that way?
Yes. There's also some practical aspects of it besides creating things.
Okay.
In relationships with people, if you get angry or something.
Exactly. No. I'm
you
just
use your imagination.
I'm giving you very blatant examples of how the imagination can lead people. Of course, it goes anywhere in between. It's anywhere in between, of course.
Sports.
Anything. It doesn't matter. Yes, a guy wants to be a good baseball player. He's going to strive. He's going to work. Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's all through the imagination. I imagine I could do well, or I imagine I can't. It's all imagination. Did I ever tell you this story? There's a story that's a pretty good story. The Alexander Rebbe always used to say this story before they would bake matzahs on Erev Pesach. He had a story. You want to hear a nice story? Okay. There was a rabbi, a great Hasidic rabbi that came to a village, Erev Shabbos. He came to a village. So all the people, came out to greet him. They had their Shabbos clothes on to greet the rabbi, right? It was a great rabbi coming here, right? And he meets with them and everything. And he finishes meeting with them. They sang some songs, and that was beautiful, right? He asked them, okay, so where's the mikvah? I want to go to the mikvah. Oh, Rabbi, I'm sorry, we don't have a mikvah. What? Such a wonderful community like this? You don't have a mikvah? Oh, well, we have a mikvah, but the mikvah is not in service. but why? We don't have any money. There's nobody in this town that has money that can fix the mikvah? Yeah, there's one guy, Beryl. He's a very wealthy man, but he won't spend a nickel on anything. So the Rebbe says, really? I'll tell you what. I'll stay here, and I'll make sure Beryl pays to take care of your mikvah. So they said, okay, but Rebbe, you don't know Beryl. He says, you don't know what I can accomplish. All right, so they started Shabbos, okay? After Shabbos, Sunday morning, so the Rebbe's there, right? And the Rebbe says to the Shammos, go to Beryl's house. He says like this, and tell Beryl this. Tell Beryl the Rebbe's in town, and he wants to give you a blessing, but he doesn't want any money. He doesn't want any money. You have to tell him that. The Rebbe's in town. He's not asking you for any money. He wants to just give you a blessing. So Beryl says, the Shabbos says, okay, fine. His attendant asked him, he went. He comes to Beryl's house and he tells Beryl, the great rabbi, I'm not giving him any money. He doesn't want any money. The rabbi just wants to give you a blessing. Oh, a blessing? And it won't cost me anything? Sure. So he goes with him to the rabbi. And he meets the rabbi, and he's sitting with the rabbi in the room. And the rabbi asks him, so what do you need a blessing for? So he says, well, I don't really need any blessings. I have everything. I have all the money I need. I have my health. I have everything. You don't need any blessing? Well, I do need a blessing, but you know what? Close the shades, and close the door. So the rabbi says to him, okay, close the shades, close the door. He says, I want you to give me a blessing that my wife should die.
Oh, God.
Give me a blessing that my wife should die. He says, why? She's the worst lady in the whole world. So why don't you give her a divorce? That's going to cost me money. It's going to cost me money. Give me a blessing that she dies. Okay? The rabbi says, if that's what you want. He says, the Gemara says that if you make a vow and you don't keep the vow that you made, so then people in the family will die. Oh, he says, really, is that so? So the rabbi says, I have a good idea for you. So he said, what's that? Go to Mincha today in Shul, and after they finish Mincha, bang on the bima, right, on the table, and say that you're going to pay to build a brand new mikveh in the town. And then don't build a mikveh. Really? Well, then you make a vow in public, and then you won't fulfill it. Wow, he said, it's a good idea. So he goes, he waits till mincha time, he comes to shul, he bangs on the bima. I make a vow, I'm going to build a brand new mikveh. And he sits down. So the shamus goes, in the shul, the shamus in the shul goes over and says, okay, can I have a check to build a mikveh? No, I'm not giving it to you. Nah, I knew you would never give any money anyway. All right, so what happens? The Rebbe's in town, he stays there for a while, he's learning with the guys, it's great, okay. A couple of days later, this guy comes back to the Rebbe, this Beryl comes back to the Rebbe, he says, I don't know, Rebbe, my wife is stronger now than she ever was. She's feistier now than she ever was. This is not working, Rebbe. And the Rebbe says to him, well, okay, let me ask you a question. Are you generally nice to your wife? You want to know if I'm nice to that lady? You want to know if I'm nice to... She burns my food all the time. She yells at me. She spends as much more money than I could ever imagine. I can't stand this lady. You want me to be nice to her? Well, the Rebbe says to me, what the Gemara also says, that if you're nasty to somebody and you curse them and all of that, even if they were supposed to die, you can save their life. So that's why it's not working. So what do I have to do, Rebbe? You have to be nice to your wife. Oh, no. I can't. Do you want her to die? Yes. You have to be nice to her. Because you see, you made the vow that you're going to build a mikveh. And every time you're nasty to her, you save her life. So now you have to be nice to her. It'll take effect. This is what do I have to do? Just say nice things to her. Be nice to her. Give her as much money as she wants to spend. What? You want her to die? Yeah, okay, fine. So he comes home and he says, good morning, dear. And he comes back to and he says, oh, my breakfast was delicious today. She's like, who is this? and here's the checkbook. Go buy what you want today. Wow. And this is going on for a few days. And then he realizes that she's getting sick. She has a cold. She has a cold. She's coughing a lot and this and that. So he runs back to the Rebbe. And he says to the Rebbe, you know something? I have a problem. You probably won't understand, but I'm going to explain to you what my problem is. My problem is I came to you, Rebbe, and I told you that I wanted my wife to die. And then you told me that I have to be nice to her because I'm saving her life. But I realize she's really a nice lady. And the food she makes is really good. And she doesn't spend as much as I thought she spent also. And she's a nice person. But now, she's not well. So what do I do? So the Rebbe says, well, you have one thing you could do. If you really realize that you love your wife and she's a nice lady, so you'll have to now pay for the mikveh to save her life. He says, what did I get myself into? So he goes to the Shabbos, he says, how much is it going to cost? And he writes him a check, and they built the mikveh. They built the mikveh. What was it? What's the point of the story? It's all about the imagination. He was imagining the whole time. He's worried about his money. He's imagining she's a mean lady because she's spending the money and so on and so on. It's all about imagination. It's all about imagination. So the Rebbe's saying over here, you like that story? Was that a good story?
Yeah. And it is all about imagination. However we see it is what we're going to get.
Exactly. Ikke bilbul amadame. The bilbul. You know what bilbul means? A confusion of our madame. The confusion. We have a confusion in our imagination. Shehem klal kol hamachshava zoros v'hurim. All those strange thoughts and those hirhurim, those thoughts that we're thinking. Well, if I get involved in a relation with this lady, oh, it's going to be great. Really?
Yeah. You know how Hashem works, don't you?
V'chakiros, v'kushos, v'kfiros, and all the different things I'm trying to figure out. And I try to investigate, to try to understand why the world is like this and like that. I drive myself crazy with that imagination. Because no matter what I do, I'll never figure it out anyway. So it's all about imagination. And kfira, right? Heresy. That I believe I'm in control, that I can do everything. Apikorsis, right? Okay. V'sham mini machshavos amebalbalin uma'akmin es ha'odam me'Hashem yisbarach u'metzadik emes. And all of the other kind of thoughts and everything else that prevent the person from getting close to Hashem. You started the class of saying you're here because you want to get close to Hashem, right? Preventing you from getting close to Hashem, right? And from the tzaddikim. Right? They think that these tzaddikim, they don't know what they're talking about. I know everything better. All the imagination. It's all imagination. That comes from the medama, the imagination, when you don't clarify it, when you don't straighten it out. Because a person, the great tzaddikim, they imagine that they can accomplish amazing things in Torah. They imagine they're going to finish the Shas. They imagine they're going to finish the Shulchan Aruch. They imagine they're going to know the Zayah. They imagine they're going to know anything. Tikunei Zayah. They'll know Kisvei Ari. They'll know everything. They imagine. And that's how they do it. It's all the imagination drives the person. That comes from that vacated, voided space. Right? That's where all the klipas come from. But really, did those klipas actually set in right away in that vacated space? The answer is no. They didn't set in right away. They set in after the sin of the tree of Eitz Hadas Tov, good and bad. When Adam and Chava sinned on that tree, that's when Amalek showed up. That's when he came in, because the snake was bad, Chava and Adam were good. Then we mixed the good with the bad. You understand? The snake was bad. The snake is the Sitra Achad. The snake is the Samach Mem. The snake is the evil inclination. He's the angel of death. That's the snake. He's everything, Billy. He's everybody. He's everything. He's all from that side. He's from that side. But it was so clear. Good, bad. We know that that's bad. This is good. But when they ate from that tree, they mixed up good and bad. When they mixed up the good and bad, they convoluted the good and the bad. The same way the imagination gets convoluted, right?
How do you convolute the good and the bad? I'm trying to get my head around that.
Okay, so when you see something that's good, you can say today that that's bad. You have the possibility to say that something that's actually good, you can say it's bad. And something that's bad, you could look at it and say, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Right? You can understand that, right?
And that's the idea of a sin. If we commit a sin,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't get punished immediately for that. Okay, I'll do it again. And then all of a sudden it becomes part of your routine that you can do that. Yeah,
become horrible, right? Become accustomed to it, right?
Yeah.
It's your routine, like you said, right? Very good. So now, basically, that's where it all came from. When they made that sin, that's when Amalek came into the thing and said, Reishis Amalek. We just read it in the Parsha yesterday. Reishis Goyim Amalek. You saw that? It was in the parsha.
Yeah, I did.
Reishis Goyim Amalek in the parsha. How you like
I
that?
thought of our class.
Huh?
I thought of our class about
Yeah.
Amalek. I'm first.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's where
it
he
came
is.
from.
Yeah. You see how he's connected to Bilam. Look, you see right by Bilam, it's talking about Amalek.
Amalek,
So you want to know if it's connected? Why? You got your answer.
Yeah.
It was in the parsha. Unbelievable, right? Okay, Bechinas Hamedame, Shu Bechinas Eitz Adas. That's the Eitz Adas, that tree, the tree of knowledge, the tree of knowledge, good and bad. And that's really where it all stemmed from. That's where it came from that tree of knowledge, good and bad. And they got convoluted by eating the tree, by eating from that fruit too early. And again, that was also the Kaya Hamedama. What did the snake tell Chava? Well, God ate from this tree, and he created the world because he ate from the tree. So he told you don't eat from the tree, so you shouldn't become a god as well. Isn't that what he said? So really, what was he doing? He was leading Chava's imagination.
Right.
Oh, I could be a god too. I could create something so beautiful like this. That would be wonderful. Imagination. The first sin came from imagination. You see that? That's really where it started.
And the universe came from imagination.
Everything. Hashem's imagination. I'm going to make a universe. Imagination. It's fascinating when you really think about it. Most people don't think about it.
Well, if they
This
did,
guy had an idea.
They could change their whole world using
Oh
their
my
imagination.
goodness.
They could
Oh
change
my, everything about them. Everything. You can imagine I can do, I will be successful. Instead of doom and gloom. Right. Okay, anyway. Okay. Ikar ksiva sefer Torah tefillin and mezuzahs. That's what that's called stam. A sofer stam. You know it's called a sofer stam?
I know, I don't know why. Yeah.
Oh, because the samach is for sefer Torah. And then the taf is for tefillin. And then the mem is for mezuzah. So sofer stam, that means he's a scribe that works on writing holy scriptures. You understand? Because he can be a sofer and you write other things, right? You can make wedding invitations. If they still do that, I don't know. Right? Right?
They make them, they just email them out now.
Right, it's all... No more calligraphy and all that stuff, right?
No, you can calligraphy it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what stam is. Sefer Torah, tefillin and mezuzah. So you learned something new today, okay? Shual gabe or daika. It has to be on skin. It has to be on skin. It has to be from the skin, from the hide. Why? Hulevar amedame. To fix up, to clarify the medame, the imagination. Shul bechinas ha'or. That's the ha'or. We said that the skin is the chitzayni shebechitzayni. That's the external of the external. Right? We have so much stuff inside our bodies, right? But the skin is the external of the external. Right? How many layers of skin do we have? We have a lot of different layers of skin as well, right? Right? It's not just one layer of skin. There's layers and layers and layers and layers. So the skin is actually the chitzayni shebechitzayni. It's the external of the external. Yeah, right? You think about it, right? The chitzayni shebechitzayni. Okay. Okay.
What does chitzoni mean?
External.
External, okay.
Yeah. External. Internal. Pnimi chitzoni. External, internal. Okay? Kidei liskois le'amuna shalema shezoichen aydei beira hamadama. And how are you going to get the amuna shalema? How do you get true amuna in Hashem? Through your imagination. You need the imagination to imagine that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with me, to imagine, and I have to imagine it because again, I can't physically see Hashem. So if I'm going to gain my emunah, I need to use my imagination and my koyach hamedameh, that ability to imagine I'm with Hashem. It's fascinating. That's where Emunah comes from. And that's why everyone's Emunah is different than everyone else's. Because everyone has a different imagination. Everyone perceives things in a different way, in their own unique way. Shua Ikka, that's the main thing, to have Emunah. Ki Ikka Beira Medame Hu Ayadei Ruach Nevuah. Because the clarification of the imagination comes through the Ruach Nevuah. It comes from a spirit of Nevuah, of prophecy. What does that mean? That's again a feeling. It's a feeling. The Nevi'im felt these things. You understand? True Bechinas Klolius HaTorah. That's how Klolius HaTorah. That's the whole Torah comes that way as well. All the Torah, imagining that I could do the mitzvahs, imagining that I could be successful in my learning of Torah, that I can do it, I will do it. You need to have imagination. You have to imagine it. Okay, Kimaisha Kosel B'Torah Tiku, as it says in Rabbi Nachman writes in his letter in his Torah Tiku, okay, which is over there letter 7. Okay. He says through the ruach of the Torah, Torah has it in a ruach as well. There's a feeling in the Torah, right? There's a ruach, right? There's a sensation in the Torah. So through that, you could work on fixing your koyach hamedameh. Imagining purity, imagining these type of things. That I don't have to be impure, I could be pure. And this is what? Shu Klolius Kesiva Sefer Torah Tefillin and Mezuzah Shehema Parshias Shel Torah. And that's the whole idea why in the Tefillin and the Mezuzah and the Sefer Torah, of course, all of these three are writing the Torah. So of course you have the clarity of your medama. You're working on fixing your imagination by recognizing what's written on this piece of skin. That was written on this piece of parchment. What was this piece of parchment before?
Animal.
It was walking around.
Yeah.
But now it's so nice. It's so nice. It doesn't even, you don't even know it was from an animal. You can't even tell. It's something totally different. It's transformed. Bechinas ruach nevuah. Sha'idei ze ikar beira medame shu bechinas or al kein tzrichen lekois v'nagabe or daika. So the same way you can imagine, wow, this piece of skin, this piece of parchment was part of an animal, and look what came from it. Look what it is now. It's amazing. It's amazing what it came, what it became. So too I can become. I can become special myself. The Rebbe says over here like this. And therefore you have to write it specifically on the skin of a pure animal, like we started off when we began the lesson today. It has to be on something pure. Because the whole idea of an animal is imagination. We spoke about that an animal doesn't have das. An animal doesn't have intellect like a person has. We have intellect. Animals don't have intellect. They have medameh. They imagine things. They imagine they can attack. An animal imagines I can attack this animal, and I'll get him. So he goes and attacks him. He imagines that, this guy's going to attack me, so I better run away. So he starts running away. It's all imagination. They work on it. They don't have intellect. They have instinct. Is that maybe we could say it like that? They have instinct. Maybe that's a better way for an animal to understand it. Their instinct, right? They have an instinct.
No, but this is something special. I think, because you're imagining something that maybe doesn't exist.
No, but I'm saying,
now.
what does it manifest in the animal? Their medameh, in their instinct.
In an animal?
Yeah, they have an instinct to attack this one, to do this, to run away, to protect themselves, to teach their cubs, to do whatever. It's all instinct.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, or shel abehema shu tachlis chitzonis, the chitzonis shel kli hamedameh shu bechinas behema. The whole idea of the animal is And the skin is, which is the external of the external. So you're taking an animal that doesn't have any das of its own, doesn't have any own intellect. And you take this animal that was pure, that this animal that's a pure animal that has a possibility that you can slaughter it, you can prepare it, you can traber it and salt it, you can examine it, you can eat it, you can make a barbecue, you can have a steak from this animal, right? And this animal here now, instead of doing that, you're taking the animal and you're working on the skin. You're working on it. You work it and work it and work it. But not only do you have to work it, you have to work it lishma. You know what that means, that you have to work it lishma means? You have to work it with the right intention that I'm going to be making parchment to write a Sefer Torah, a mezuzah, or tefillin. You understand? I need to have that intention.
Is that something you say?
Yeah, they have to, while they're working on it. While they're working on it.
While they're working on it, you still.
Yeah. They have to be. Yes. It's very important. Shal klei hamedame bechinas behema v'al kein shom ika habeirur. That's the main place where you can have the clarity. You can have that clarity of the imagination. If you're ever thinking that I can't work on my imagination, well, look at an animal. Take a look at this skin, the hide that came from the animal. Look what came of it. It's a nice, a beautiful parchment now. It's a Sefer Torah now. Unbelievable. It's a box from my tefillin now. Right? It's my mezuzah to have on my door. Amazing, and anything can have the possibility. Okay, because we know that the tefillin is a great mayach, has a great intellect in the tefillin, a tremendous amount of intellect in the tefillin. It can fix the external and the external. Again, like we said, when a person is attracted to another human being, right? What are they looking at? They see the skin. They see the skin of the person. That's all they see. They see the chitzayni of the chitzayni of the chitzayni. You have no idea anything about this person. Nothing. We have no idea what's going on inside the person. No idea. You just see that, and the person's attracted to the skin. Chitzayni, it should be chitzayni. Not working on pnimi. Not working on what's inside. Right? And I believe today, that's why there's so much divorce today. I truly believe it, because people are just looking at their future spouse, right? Right? And they say, oh, she's beautiful. Oh, he's very handsome. Okay, and that's why you're getting engaged. That's why you're going to get married, because she's very beautiful, he's very handsome. But what about what's important in life?
Well, however, I would suggest that that is also important, because Hashem wants people to come together. And have babies, have children.
No, I didn't say that's not important, but that can't be the main purpose.
It can't be the only,
No, not the only. It can't be. It has to be just one part of it. In other words, they have to understand, they have to see how their makeup is. In other words, we said that each neshama has its makeup of the ruach and the nefesh, right? And there's different tendencies. So the two have to really discuss how certain, what would happen if we're married and we're living together, and then this comes up in our life. How would we deal with this?
What comes up in our life?
Anything, right? We have a financial crisis. How would we deal with it? We have a health issue. How would we deal with it? What would we do?
Well, it's from Hashem. We need to work right.
No, of course, but that's what they have to discuss things in life.
Right.
How will I do? How do you want to raise our children?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of school do you want to send your child to? What kind of summer program do you want to send your child to? These are things you have to discuss. Not just the attraction. Right? It's not, if you have everything else works and there's an attraction, that's wonderful. Because, as we get older, people don't look as attractive as they used to look. Right?
Yes.
Right? That's just a fit. Well, so now, again.
Actually, I think they do.
Okay, that's a different, okay. On some level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there has to be the
so if there's only an attraction, and then you take away the attraction, So then, of course, the thing's going to fall apart. But if the attraction was only 5% of the relationship, and then the person doesn't look as well, so who cares? It's only 5%. But if it was 95%, and it was only 5% the other way, well, that's going to be a big problem. That's going to be a big problem, right? It's all about the chitzoni. It's all about fixing the medama, this imagination.
But I think that people have to have what to imagine.
Yeah, so that's what you learn Torah for. So you learn what to imagine. That's what we're saying here. If you learn Torah, the Torah helps your imagination. Teaches you what you're supposed to imagine.
What does it teach you to imagine about your spouse?
What do you mean? What does the Torah teach you? Okay. The Torah teaches you that you have a mitzvah of pruruvu.
Yeah.
Right? This is a mitzvah. This is not an attraction. This is a mitzvah. Right? There's a mitzvah that I understand that my wife is my Ezer Kenegdo. Right? She's there either as my Ezer or my Kenegdo. She'll be there either to help me or she's going to be against me. Depending on how I deal with her.
But neither one of those is bad, right?
No. Kenegdo, yeah. If you have someone against you, that's not good. Someone that's going against you, that's a good thing. No, that's not a good thing.
But isn't that what causes us to grow?
No, okay.
I'm trying to understand.
No, okay. You can have a relationship where the wife which is helping the husband. She prepares meals for him. She encourages the husband. She says, go learn and do. She's encouraging. That's good. That's healthy. That's very healthy, right? Or you can have another lady that all she's doing is she's fighting with her husband, right? I want this. I want to go here. I want to go there. I want this. I want this. I want that. This house isn't good enough. I want a better car. What is this kind of car you have? I need this car. I need this. I need that. I need this fur coat. I need this diamond ring. I need this, right? Right. You have that too.
Okay. So where is it that they're a mirror for us? Where does that fit into this? So if I get angry because of something I see them doing, but it's really because I've seen it.
Exactly, because if that's your value, that's what they're going to have. If you show your wife that you're always looking for new things, right? You're always looking for new things. You're looking for the newest technology. You're looking for the newest things out there, right? So then she's going to say, hey, I need it also. But if you show your wife that your importance is, and then you'll see it. It'll manifest. You'll see the mirror. She'll show you what you're doing. But if you're working on your kedusha and your tahara, and you're working on getting closer to Hashem, and she sees you doing that, so she'll follow the same thing. You'll see the mirror again.
So where does an emotion come in?
What do you
mean? The emotion of anger or frustration or upset.
So we spoke a lot about anger. I mean, you realize that it's all from Hashem. So why am I going to get angry at my spouse? Hashem is testing me here.
Right.
She told me this to test me. It's a test.
That's the part where I'm thinking it's against me.
No, it's not against. No, it's not against. No. Against means that she has an agenda against the person. Okay, someone that has an agenda against her husband. That's what we're saying, kenegdai. And Ezer is someone that help. They want to help. They want to be successful. And the kenegdai, and the kenegdai is an agenda against the husband. That's not good. That's not healthy.
Okay.
That's not healthy.
So she gets angry with me. Where does that fit in this model or this process?
So why did she? What did she get angry about?
Well, it was angry, or I got angry. No, I got angry.
So then you have to work on your anger. Don't get angry. Why are you angry at her?
Where does that fit in the process, though? Or it's my process.
You have to discuss why did you get angry now? What did she say to you? What did she say to you that made you angry?
Well, she did something that I didn't like, and it made me angry. But it made me angry because I see that I do that.
Okay, so then
it was a mirror.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so now go fix yourself, and then she'll fix her problem.
So it's not in this process then.
No. This is something we're learning here. Something else. We're learning here about attraction. We're learning here about the chitzayni shebechitzayni.
Okay.
We're learning from the external things, and people shouldn't be attracted to the external things only in life. That's what we're focusing on here. Okay. L'sakin tachlis chitzayni tzichitzayni is hakatnus shebekatnus, the smallness of the smallness, because that's very small. If a person's only attracted for physical attraction, that's very small-minded. Okay? Because that's coming from the Kayach HaMedama, the imagination. So the Ikar Atikun Ki Kol Ma Tzadik Gadol B'Yoser Yesh Lei Kayach Levara L'Sakin Hakatnis Hachitzaynis Yoser. The greater the tzaddik is, he can work with that person on rectifying his small-mindedness, and he can raise up his values. He can help him raise up. But again, the tzaddik has to be a big tzaddik to understand that person where he is at that level, to know how to deal with that person on that level. You need a big tzaddik for that. By these end is taknin kolay lamais, va'oilin kola nitzaitzais, and then we can raise up all worlds through such great tzaddikim that work with us, that like Reb Noson's doing here. He's teaching us here. Reb Noson's teaching us here. Really, what are you focused on in life? What are you focused on? What are you focused on? V'oilim misham kol netzaitis, and all the netzaitis can be raised up. All the netzaitis can be raised up. All the sparks, all those sparks that fell down by creation of the world, all those sparks, those holy sparks that fell down. Kol neshamas and nefulas, all those neshamas that fell down, all those neshamas that took a dive. Ayidei mevarin and mezachin tachlis hakatnas v'achitzaynis shemisham ikra achizosam shel klipas. When people are small-minded, that's when the klipa can attach to them. The klipa, the husks of impurity, can attach to people when they're small-minded, right? When they're down, right? When they're up, when they're thinking right, then they don't get involved in these other things, right? But when the person is thinking, he has great high hopes and he has a lot of aspiration, everything, he's not involved in the small stupid things in the world. But if a person doesn't have that and all he's on a low level, so anything that comes his way, it'll be interesting to him, and we can avoid that. We're learning how to avoid that. All through the tzaddik, we can fix all of these things. Okay, now we're gonna discuss. Now that we discussed already the idea of the holiness of the tefillin. Right, we learned about the holiness of the tefillin. We learned about the meichin el yoinim. Right, we learned about the upper, the supernal wisdom, the supernal the thoughts that we're supposed to have. Right, and we learned all the way, and we learned about the katnus, how small-minded from both spectrums. Right, the tzaddik can be on the highest level, thinking in his medama works in the greatest, and the other guy in the lowest way. Right. Now we're going to understand, now we're going to learn about the whole essence of the thought process altogether. That's what we're going to learn about now. Okay, the essence of the thought process. Here we go. V'zeh b'chinas tzadikim hazakenim. And now we're back to our story, right? In our story, we had the great tzadikim, right? We had these great pious people, right?
Which story?
The seven beggars.
Okay.
We're still in the seven beggars. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Sha'kotan shebekulam zochar chatichas taburei. The one that was the smallest of all of them, he remembered them cutting the severing of his belly button, of the umbilical cord. Shu bechinas tchilas hakatnas. That's the beginning of smallness, right? The person he was born. That's the second that the person took on his own being, right? Before that, he was connected to his mother. Now he takes on his own. Atabur. Chatikas ataber shezoichin lezachich b'shleimus ad sheyochel liskar ma shenasa oz. And a person can work on their mind so much so, on purifying and straightening out their mind and cleaning out their mind, that they can remember back to that day when they were first born, and the nurse or the doctor, whoever it was there, and they what do? They usually
cut it.
No, but before they cut, they usually stop it, right?
Yeah.
They put like a tourniquet on it or something, and then they cut it, right?
The husband is doing this these days too.
Oh, the husbands do that now? Okay.
I did that.
You did that? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Until you can remember what happened. Until you can remember what happened. And that's an idea of repairing and cleansing the skin. Watch, one second.
Okay.
1 second. That's the bind. That's what's binding the mother with the child. And how is she connected to the child? Through the skin. That tabar is just a piece of skin. That's all it is. It's skin. She's only connected with skin. The baby is getting his whole life force through skin. Inside the skin, again, there's all the stuff that's there, right? The tubes that are there. That's feeding the mother, taking away all the waste from the baby and bringing the food into the baby and giving oxygen to the baby, right? All through that thing, but it's all through skin. Because the whole downward chain of all of the worlds, from world to world, right? We started the world of Atzilut. That's the highest world, right? And then we go down to the world. We go down to the world of Bria. Then we go down to the world of Yetzirah, and then we go down to the world of Asiya down here. So that is Shtalshus, okay? Of that Hurak me'atabar ulamata bechinas heite be'etz achayim b'shara nekudim ubekama mekaymas. Okay, and the Zohar speaks about this in the place called Shara Nekudim. All right, in the Eitz Chaim, he writes this down in the Eitz Chaim about this. That the whole idea, the beginning of the world of Tikkun, this beginning of the world of repair, and it's bind ba'olam ha'elyon, and it's bind to the next world. Urak bechinas tabura, it's like the same thing. In other words, the whole idea that each world is connected to the next world with the same idea like the tabur. The same way the mother's connected to the baby with the tabur, with this umbilical cord, so too there's some kind of an umbilical cord that's hinging each world to the next world. Isn't that interesting? Ulamata shesham memaschil bechinas netzach hoid yisoid. And then from there comes the midos, the netzach, hoid, and yisoid, bechinas raglin shel olam ha'elyon. That those are the feet of the upper world. So we know that each world that has its own 10 spheros. Each world has its own spheros. And we're saying now that the netzach and hoid are the legs. Netzach is the right leg. Hod is the left leg, and Yesod is the bris kodesh. Okay, those are the three feet. Those are the three regalin shalaylam ha'elyon. Shemisham ikra achiyas shalaylam ha'tachton. And that's where it gets the next world, the lower world. That's where the lower world gets its. That's where the lower world gets its power from. It gets its from the raglin. From the feet of the upper world. Me'olam li'olam u'midarga li'darga, from world to world and from level to level. V'al kein bara Hashem yizbarach shavlad niksha gam b'gashmius. And therefore Hashem made it that the baby, that the little infant, the fetus, is only going to be connected with something gashmius, with something physical. It's connected with something physical, betabar, with that umbilical cord. But that's coming from his mother. That's what connects him. The same way one world is connected to the other world, so to Hashem made the baby and the mother. That connection between the baby and the mother is through the umbilical cord only. Because that's the ishtalshalis, that's the way it goes from generation to generation. Midar lidar. Me'av ve'em lebein uvas. From the mother and the father to the son and the daughter. Hu maskil mitabura ulamate. Comes from the tabura, from the umbilical cord and lower. And that's the whole idea. That's the whole service of a person in the world, to bring emunah in, that the emunah should go from midar lidar, should go from generation to generation, should be passed down. And the main avoda, the main work that we have in this world, is to clarify the emunah. That starts with the tabur. From that time that the baby is born, start infusing emunah into the baby. Start infusing emunah. You know, there are some people that have a custom that they take the newborn and they wash the newborn's hands. They wash the newborn's hands. Right? Infuse emunah, infuse holiness into the baby while it's still an infant. It has no idea what's going on.
Who's doing this?
People do that. They wash their hands. They take a cup and they wash their hands the same way they wash
the parents.
Yeah, the parents. Yeah.
Can they say Netilat Yadayim for the kid?
They can't. Well, you can't make the bracha for someone. No.
Not that bracha.
No, they just wash the. Again, infusing emunah into the child.
Right.
And that young, and that's a small age, such a young age. Start infusing it. Say with the little baby Moda Ani in the morning. Say with the baby Kriya Shema Lamita. Infusing emunah into the baby. That's what the baby hears, and that's what the baby knows, and that's what the baby. That's what he'll always recall. Right. That's what the baby will always recall, and that's what it is. That's midar lidar. Like we were saying in chapter 100 of the Tehillim, right? The whole idea of the other side is to take us away. To take us away. It doesn't want to have that continuity, midar lidar, and that's why the mother should say chapter 100, because it talks about midar lidar. So again, Rav Nosson just filling it in over here, the same idea. Okay. And therefore, the whole drawing of the Meichen Shel HaZakenim. You know, the whole main drawing of the minds of the holy Zakenim, of those holy elder saints, Akadoshim, Aleinu, who al yedei hazaken hakoten shebekulam, through the zaken, that's the koten shebekulam. He's the old one, but he's the smallest one of all of them. Through him. Shu hazaken harishon mimata lemala. He's the smallest one, from small going to the highest one. He says, I remember when they cut my umbilical cord. See how it fits into the story now. Because we said that's how the whole worlds work. Each world is hinged on the next world. Right? The netzach hoid yesod of each world is connected to the next world. And that's the tabor. That's the tabor of the world. So too, he understood how he was connected to his mother. How it was going from above to below. From the mother above to him below. Bechinas shamshochas or shel tefillin nimshochin ad hatabor. And therefore we know that the tefillin, right? We said the straps. One strap goes to the heart, the right one goes to the heart, and the left one has to go down to the belly button. Has to go back to the belly. Why does it have to go to the belly button? To teach this idea. That's the midar lidar. The emunah has to start from there. That's where it started. So the nimtzachim ala taber. Sheim bechinas haritzuos. Shenimshachim, those are the Ritzuas that come from the Rosh, from the head, from the knot. We said the knot is David HaMelech, Mitzor Tzor HaChayim, that's David HaMelech. From there comes two straps. One goes to the heart, one goes to the tabor. Ala tabor. Or even though in truth, even though we don't get this or, she'ein anu mekablin or, ella mi bechinas hatabor ulamata. We only get the light from the tabor, from the umbilical cord. Like we said, from the next world, we only get from the lower part. Right? Ulamata. Al yedei hazokain ha'achron shebekula. From the zokain, the last zokain now, of all of them. And that's if you're counting them, mimala lamata. So we can count them from the lowest to the highest, or from the highest to the lowest. Right?
Count who from the highest?
The eight elders.
Okay.
Shu zocher chatichas hataba. He still remembers his cutting of the umbilical cord. Afal pichein kol hachiyas v'amoichin shemekabla misham. Even though all of that, after all of that, all his chiyas, all of his life, and his medama, and his imagination comes from that place. Nimshachim rak mi b'koyach hazokein ha'elyon harishon shemalan shebekulam shu bechinas ha'eva. He's the Eva. He's the blind guy, right? The blind guy that said he's not blind, but he was only blind to things of this world. Watch what we say now. Shu atinoik. He's the youngest one, right? Because he said he's the oldest one, but he's the youngest one. He's the oldest one in age, but he's the youngest one in his perspective of life. Ki efshalasais kalim lekabel or lemata, because you can't make these kalim, you can't make these vessels to accept the lower light. Ki im bekoyach kedusha al yoina. Only if you can have the kedusha, you can have the holiness from above. Ma'oid v'or el yoimai, and that's what same way that the mother is considered above, the child is the low one. You have to always learn from the mother, like we say in the morning. Don't forget your Torah that you learned from your mother, the emunah that your mother gives you. Don't forget the emunah that your mother instilled in you. Live life with that. You need to take that. Mesra, the Sakina, that we learned about this before, which is Likutey Maran, Torah Lamed 30, in letter Aleph and Beis. Shasogas elikus efshel lekabel ki'im derech kama tzimtzumim. The way of Hashem. If you want to attain Hashem, you can only attain Hashem with many tzimtzumim, many constrictions. It has to be constricted. Because if it's too bright, too powerful, too potent, you can't accept it. Ma'ila la'olo. From the highest supernal thoughts, l'seichel tachtain down here to the seichel tachtain, the lower seichel. Kol ma'ashadam katam b'mala b'yoseh hu chayla b'chayli nefesh. The smaller the person is, he's sick. He has a sick nefesh. He has a sick soul. Hu chayla b'chayli hanefesh. Yosef, who tzarech Rebbe Godol b'Yosef. He needs a great Rebbe. He needs a great Rebbe. Shehu Uman. That the Rebbe is a craftsman. He knows how to craft the repair for this soul. The doctor. And he's a doctor. He knows how to make the repair. Sheyuchel lasis kelim lahachnis by hasogas elikus. He knows how to make the vessels to put into that person. Even that person's on that low level. He knows how to make the vessel that person can accept the vessel. Ulasakin gam oisai, to fix also him, ayin sham. Anyone can get fixed if you have the right tzaddik. The right tzaddik, you need the right tzaddik in order to bring the information in. V'chol zeh, okay, we have a few more minutes?
Sure.
V'chol zeh tovin heite beitz hachayim b'shar nekudim b'kama makoyimos. Shor HaKelim, that the light of the Kelim, nimshechu daika mimokim gavoya meyoid. The light of the Kelim comes from a very, very, very high place. V'chol masha Kelim kiblu or mimokim gavoya ve'elya meyoysa. And the higher the vessels are, and the higher the light is coming from the higher place, nismata ashvira. It lowers the breaking of when the vessels were broken. Because the higher the light is, the higher light can always lower itself and can constrict it. See, the higher the light is, the light knows how the light can control itself. It can control itself, it can constrict itself, confine itself, in order to make that vessel that the person can accept it. Lahaknis or bedarga b'mida, to bring the light in on a level and in a measure. Sheloi riboy or chasvam, that there shouldn't be too much light. V'afal pichein, and also still, yaknis b'em asogas elikus b'chinas matei v'loi matei. Whether they understand or they don't understand, they put into tzaddik knows how to instill into the person, knows how to instill into that person that's spiritually sick. He knows how to give him a vessel with a very, very, very potent light, but it's constricted, it's measured, so that it can wake up that person. Unbelievable. Bechinas rotzi v'shav. He'll understand that he has to go closer and like the malachim. The malachim are always trying to go closer, but they can't go closer. They know because they'll burn up. They know they can't burn, and we have to know the same thing. We can't get too close to God because it's not going to be good for us. Right? That's what happened to Acher, Elisha ben Avuya, right? Right? And the other ones, that they went to that paradise, they went to that place, and they had too much light. B'derech nifna v'nayra mi'oid, shehu b'chinas oilam hatikon, that's the oilam hatikon, animshach me'bechinas atik, that comes from the place of atik. Atik yomim, atik. That's written in the Eitz Chaim, and you can see that in Shar Tes Pei Vav. Okay, fine. Okay, atik. Okay, Shemisham Achizas Kol HaZakenim. That's where all the Zakenim get their recollection from. That's where all the Zakenim are running from. And I think we'll stop over here now. Okay? Any questions?
It's a different question that doesn't relate to.
Okay, so everyone shkoyach.